All right. So we're talking about behind the behavior.
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Because I did a Facebook Live rant last night on a video that someone was sharing about a dad who was such a great dad because they had their child running to school after they got kicked off the bus for bullying. Because the dad does not tolerate bullying, which I am so in favor of not tolerating bullying.
So in favor of that.
So in favor. And
Absolutely.
I'm so in favor of natural consequences and having our children face natural consequences and having to get themselves to school is a natural consequence.
Totally.
And we can't miss the opportunity of really figuring out what's behind the behavior. Because the problem isn't that he got kicked off the bus. The problem is that he was bullying.
Yeah. The problem is that, there's some emotional situation behind what's occurring, whether the kid knows it or not, and this is so applicable to adults,
Exactly.
to myself, to all of us.
Exactly.
Like when I heard that video, I'm like, this is such an excellent thing. Do you hear that? Do you hear the loud? Do you hear the loud car going by? It's like mega bass.
Oh, is that what it was? It sounded like a sneeze.
I'm like dancing. Nobody can hear it. It's all up in my head. Like everything.
I love that about you.
No, but when I heard that, I was like, oh, Pam, we got to talk about this because it's so applicable, I would think, to, obviously young people. It seems to go, yes, yes, yes. It just also seems to apply to every human of all ages, no matter how evolved, conscious, like we're human beings.
Yeah.
We have stresses and complexities of life. We have
inner world.
And this and that.
Complicated inner world.
Yeah. So when we have an emotional response that's painful, it often comes out in actions that we don't necessarily love, or things that we don't necessarily want to say, or things like that. And I think that's just so relevant for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, it really, bullying behavior to me is behavior that's stemming from a negative emotional state, right? Mm-hmm. That we're not able to be caring. We're not able to act out of a place of kind of love and care for others. And so that's just one example of what can happen when we have an internal state that we aren't able to navigate. Like whether we lash out at someone, mm-hmm. whether we lash out at ourselves, whether we impulsively make a decision to try to feel better.
I literally did this week. I feel like I'm one of those people that's pretty much in control most of the time. Not, you know what I mean? Not saying that in a...
I know what you mean.
Like, not really, but in a sense, like I feel like I have quite a bit, like a pretty solid consciousness. But anyways, long story short, it's interesting. And before we started, you were mentioning how you were working with a company and then you ended up stopping working with them because of some, I don't even know the stories. Mine disrespectful interaction.
I felt not respected. I'm like, I'm not giving my money to somebody that doesn't respect me as a customer.
Yeah, fair enough. And mine was about integrity in their word and saying they would do something and seriously not delivering. Really felt like a bait and switch scenario. Mm-hmm. So I am not okay with that. And I'm actually pretty proud of myself at standing up for myself in certain ways, because I've historically not been very good at that. Mm-hmm. Always sort of resting in be super nice all the time and don't rock the boat. Like that's sort of been my approach. So anyway, the other night I get back from traveling. I'm tired. I'm like struggling with some other things going on. And I get this thing in the mail, and is relevant to this business that I was working with. And I totally did what you never should do. And I sent an email holding them accountable.
Steam coming.
And I stand by what I wrote. I really do. It could easily have been worded so much better, but I do stand by holding someone accountable to their word. Yeah. Integrity is a big, big deal with me. I feel super strong about that. I'm not backpedaling on that one bit. I'm more acknowledging my own humanness in an exact scenario like that, of like dealing with some other emotional stuff, not really having it fully together, and then taking an action that is indicative of something behind that action. You know, so it's like, it's everywhere. It's all the time.
Well,
So anyway, go on.
just to shine a light on that, right? If we're stressed, if we're angry, if we're afraid, we're stupid. We can't think clearly.
Yes.
Stress makes us stupid. Anger makes us stupid. Fear makes us stupid. Shame makes us stupid. It literally takes us into a lower part of our brain where we don't have the high cognitive functioning to make the best decisions possible. To really see the big picture, to really take things in perspective and be like, okay, taking everything in perspective, what's the best way for me to handle this?
Right.
When we are stuck, feeling stressed, scared, angry, whatever, we are stupid.
Right.
Right. And so from a parenting perspective, looking at a child, you can say that, okay, and their kids, their brain isn't fully developed until their mid-20s. And so it's my job as a parent to support them to navigate those stupid moments, those lower brain movements when their behavior is not in line with their big goals. And as a self, perspective, for us to be aware of our emotional states and spiritual states, to be like, okay, right now I'm stressed, angry, scared, whatever. I'm in a lower state. I know that cuts off my higher cognitive functioning. So what first and foremost do I need to do for myself to get myself back to a centered, clear, calm, smart part of my brain, right?
Yeah.
And do that before firing off the email.
Yeah.
Not that you won't be, maybe you'll be even more assertive, be more gentle and gracious, and get a better result because you are holding the same boundaries that
absolutely.
you said you were going to do this and you didn't. Look, I know life is crazy. I know that there's a million reasons why this could have gone not how you promised. You may not even be aware that you didn't do the thing that and you may be mortified right now as I send this, that you didn't do the thing that you said you were going to do.
Yep.
So I open up the opportunity for you to fix this before I decide you're out of integrity, right?
Well, that kind of already, So anyway, that's neither here nor there. The details of the situation really don't even matter. I'm more wanting to talk about my own. I'm more wanting to talk about my own self because it's really not relevant. It's more like, what have I done? What can I control? What is my responsibility? And when it comes to my
responsibility.
When it comes to my business, for example, in this scenario, it's, I absolutely feel and believe it is my responsibility. If I'm working with someone, I love that frame around business, truthfully. And I think this applies to, as a metaphor to ourselves, is that feeling genuinely responsible for every single part. Like if we talk about leadership and those leaders in business who actually, and leaders in the household, and I didn't know, to take responsibility for every single piece of their business. You know what I mean? Like that type of extreme ownership. That is really powerful stuff. And I really buy into that. So like, as far as blaming this company that I think sucked, it's not, that's on me. It's ultimately on me.
It's an opportunity.
That gives me back power and control in the positive sense.
Absolutely. You and I, we've talked about this ad nauseam. We don't blame. We take full responsibility for everything. And if there's a pain point, it's an opportunity for us to become that much more skillful in whatever area there's a pain point. So it's really all good. It's all beautiful. And we have this opportunity to become more and more skillful navigating our inner world. And if we're a parent, helping, or if we're a partner, right? Like as a friend, like we're friends. And obviously I will validate that you are highly evolved. So like, I honestly can't even imagine a scenario where like, you are, and
thank you.
I can't imagine a scenario where like you would be like bitchy to me. Right. But let's just hypothetically say, no, but seriously, hypothetically, suppose I had a friend like you, but not like you, because you would never do this. But suppose I had a friend who was like really bitchy about something to me. Like I had done something, like whatever, like it's on me. I have full responsibility as a partner kind of in this friendship to not take it personally and support you or her, because it's not you, but you know what I'm saying? Support her.
This didn't actually happen.
Hypothetical friend that isn't Melanie Curtis, because Melanie Curtis would never. But let's, you know what I'm saying? It would be my responsibility to not take it personally and then be a good partner in that moment, a good relationship partner to say, hey, like, I don't know what's going on. Cause like you're talking to me in a way that like really hurts, like doesn't feel good in my heart. And like, I love you and I care about you. Like, what's up? I'm here. Like, is
Yeah.
there something we need to talk about? Is there
I
something?
think that alone, that piece of advice alone, that, of like, I feel something, I'm not sure what's going on. I love and appreciate you. What's happening with you? Like that, I actually feel like I sometimes forget to do that
Mm,
because of the emotional charge I feel. You know
mm,
what I mean? Because I'm very sensitive.
mm-hmm.
It's okay. Not saying, not no excuse, not excusing that, but just to say, like, for the sensitive hearts out there, that's such an easy thing. Like, easy, I mean, like, simple small thing we can remember to do in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I love that, just as an actionable, because it's like, again, I always am trying to find those simple actionable places we can improve the next time we feel triggered. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so
Yeah.
anyway, this is
Yeah.
one.
And to break it down, like self-validation, because if
Mm-hmm.
we self-validate, if we're like, wow, that really hurt the way that hypothetical Melanie Curtis just spoke to me. Like that hypothetical Melanie Curtis was a total bitch just now. Like that hurt.
I don't like hypothetical Melanie
Melanie
Curtis.
Curtis, like, I don't know how long we're gonna be friends. Like,
I'm
I
not
don't
a
know.
fan of her.
But seriously, just self-validate. You're like, wow, that hurt. That hurt. I don't know what that, I don't know if I'm angry. I don't know if I feel guilty about, did I do something? Like there's a
Yeah.
knot of discomfort in me that, okay, I'm validating. By validating it, by naming it, you kind of get yourself back in the higher part of your brain to say, yeah, it would hurt anybody how hypothetical Melanie Curtis just spoke to me.
Yeah, like, it's totally understandable that I could feel this way, you know?
Yeah. And
All,
now what?
who knows whether, how I'm perceiving it now is accurate or
Yeah,
not.
maybe it's
Like,
because I
I
got
don't
my
know.
period. I'm getting my period tomorrow. Like, I'll be honest, I'm so much more sensitive when I'm like about to get my period and I
When
know
I'm,
that about myself. And
well,
so
in
now I'm like,
sleep.
wait, when I start to get offended by someone who normally doesn't offend me, I'm like, wait, where am I in my cycle?
Yeah. Yeah,
Am
for
I,
real.
like, what time is it? Because it's like out of character for hypothetical for that situation, right?
Yep.
So I own my feelings. Feelings are never wrong. And in a real friendship, in a real partnership, I would transparently, talk to my friend about it. Be like, what's going on? Like, did I take that in a weird way? Because oftentimes, people are rushing, people just email, text, people send messages that land in a certain way.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
don't know if they meant to send it that way or meant to say it that way. Like maybe they
Yep.
were rushing and talking to someone else at the same time as they sent it. And so it landed in a much more kind of harsh way. And to hold space for all the different reasons why it's not personal, they didn't mean it that way, and to navigate it with grace, as opposed to thinking that it's a discipline moment, like going back to the parenting analogy, that like that's that, what's wrong with that person, or that person can't, that kind of stuff we want to avoid.
Yeah.
We want to get to that deeper healing
I
around it.
think also another thing that we can do to just build on what you're saying, it's also good, is this is something I do, like, with people who have earned my trust.
Yes,
I
yes.
really always try to and bring myself back to the frame that I know that they are loving and generous and kind people, and they
Mm-hmm.
love me. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Period. The end. So if I don't feel that, then there's something that is I'm misunderstanding.
Yeah.
For real.
There's actually a dialectic behavioral therapy skill around this called the
Mhm.
think skill. And the T is think about it from their perspective. H is have empathy.
Yep.
I is different interpretations. Like, how could you look at it, take it in a different way? N is notice how they've behaved positively in the past.
Yep.
And then K is be kind.
Love it.
And it's like, it really nails the
Love it.
process of navigating those moments when you're kind of triggered.
Yep.
You're like, wait, how do I handle this mindfully? Okay, T, think about it from their perspective. Okay, H, have empathy. I, okay, all right, and go through that 5 think skill, and you'll
Yep.
be taking kind action,
Yep.
which is at least is moving you in a more empowered place.
Yeah. And it's something I talked about yesterday in a Facebook Live, was about when, you know, one thing we always can do is take actions in alignment with our own values,
Yeah.
with our own loving kindness, with our own
This is
values.
why we're friends.
That is an act of love to ourselves and to our loved ones, always, every time, from both directions. You know what I mean? Like if your loved one is over there doing their thing, like that truly is, I believe, an act of love for the partnership. Does that make sense? Like for in whatever relationship it is, like
Yeah.
you and me, or a love relationship or familial relationship, whatever.
I
Like
consider us having a love relationship, just so
we
you
still have a
know.
love relationship.
like, just so you know.
Hashtag love wins.
No, but seriously, I mean, having your core values as your compass.
Yeah.
Like being kind is one of my freaking core values.
Same.
Compassion is a core value. So every action I take, I hold myself to that. And I'm not a Zen master. I'm not perfect. So in those moments, if I do have a, not so awakened moment and take an action that maybe came out of snarkiness or came out of a pain point or something, it doesn't feel good. It feels out of alignment with my truth,
Yep.
which then is me giving my power away.
Yep. Exactly. And that's different, not feeling good, than when we're growing in a direction we're not good at yet. So going back to, like, for example, me standing up for myself in a strong way, like stepping into strength and being willing to engage conflict, that is positive growth for me. Doesn't feel good, but it's positive growth for me. I can rest and sleep at night going, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's
That's
in
a
alignment with your
positive
core values. And that's why the core values are so powerful, because it will instantly give you that North Star on whether it's good discomfort or nope, not good discomfort. you gotta fix something. It's like, just check in.
Yeah, you can feel the difference. I feel like I can very easily tell when it's bad discomfort. It's so palpable inside my body. Like it feels terrible.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So it's like really looking for that stuff over time and iterations of just our life experiences and our choices. Like, how do we get really skilled with that? Well, we consistently look for it. We consistently feel, and we identify what those feelings are and what actions caused what. And that's how long-term we uncover our core values.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, fear feels very different in our body once we really figure it out and spend enough time being, okay, that's what fear feels like. Okay, this is what being out of alignment with my values feels like.
Yeah.
That's like a deep soul level of discomfort. Like your soul is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like
whereas fear is like up here.
Yeah. Fear is overcomable. Fear is in the way of the core value trying to get through.
Yeah.
Whereas being out of alignment is like a twist in the
soul energy.
It's not good.
All.
It's not good.
Let's not do that, okay?
Yeah, I know.
I love you.
But anyway, I want to go back to your stuff, because I obviously I'm not a parent, but like I love this that you are taking a stand in such a positive way for healing young people through healing and enlightening the leadership inside the family. Like, that is so beautiful to me. The idea that we could actually help address emotional pain points in children. Obviously people are trying to do this. Like,
it's a win-win-win-win-win, because literally every mistake is an opportunity for growth. And we know this, like in our own lives. And it's the same thing for our kids. Every time our kids make a mistake, it's an opportunity for their growth. And if we handle it skillfully, we're actually addressing the root of the problem. If we don't handle it skillfully and we address the symptom, then we're not being of service to them.
Yeah,
and it's literally like if you had a plant and you're like, oh, what's wrong with the plant? The leaves are getting all funky, and you're like trying to fix the leaves, and you're like you're trying to paint the leaves green and like cut the bad leaves off. Like, okay, all the bad leaves, we're just going to cut. That's actually a better analogy, like cutting the bad leaves off as the leaves get unhealthy and leaves get unhealthy.
Yep.
But the problem isn't that there's some bad leaves. The problem is the tree is sick. And
Yep.
so you need to address the holistic health from the root system,
Yeah.
why the leaves are starting to get unhealthy.
Yep.
Which is reminding me, I got some trees in the yard that I really need to do this for. But it's the same thing. And if parents aren't coming from a state of higher consciousness, it's very easy to get duped into thinking that fear is an effective behavioral tactic.
Yeah.
Fear works in the short term, seemingly relatively well.
Yep.
If you look at the big picture, fear over the long term has some seriously negative consequences, like direly negative consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to evolve to a higher level of wisdom. So we don't parent from a place of fear. We parent from a place of flexible boundaries.
Yep.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, you did.
So,
that's why I was like, we parent from a place of,
and you're like,
I'm like, what?
Yeah,
oh
I know.
God, I have to know.
But the answer is like love and flexible, consistent boundaries. You need to have flexible, consistent boundaries. And so what that looks like in action, a great example is like, we are not allowed to talk disrespectfully to each other in our house. It's an absolute ground rule. Like, we don't speak to each other that way. And we speak to each other that way. I don't speak to them that way, really, ever, knock on wood. But they speak to each other that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they do that, when they have that behavior, which is a non-negotiable, we're not allowed to do that.
Yep.
I remind them that we don't talk to each other that way. And then I get to the deeper driver of the behavior, because the reason they know not to talk that way. So the only reason they're talking that way is because they've got something going on in them.
Yeah.
And we need to teach them in that moment, all right, you just had a big feeling, which caused you to behave in a way that is not okay.
Yep.
So now that we're aware that this is happening, let's get in there, figure out what that big feeling is, empower you with some skills to negotiate it. So next time when you feel that way, you don't behave that way. If I just addressed the fact that my child was just disrespectful and I had some sort of punishment around that, I would have completely missed the opportunity to teach them how to handle their inner world and to teach them to be more skillful handling their big emotions, that discomfort, whatever it was. And so when parents just parent to the symptom, and they're not only missing the opportunity to help the kid, it's actually getting worse, because if you're building up whatever the dysfunction is that is going on inside about them not feeling safe, not feeling worthy or validated, or not feeling like they have enough control. I mean, this is like, all kids need to feel like they have control at times, right? And as a parent, you can't let the kid have control. So it's like this art of, look, I get it. You want to have control right now. You want to do whatever you need to do. And we've got all these other, issues that we need to solve for. So what do you think we should do? When you're feeling that way, what do you think you can do? And you're empowering the kid to actually rewire their brain so they're more skillful in handling it next time.
Yep.
It's so true. It's so important. And it's absolutely so true. And when you look at everything that's going on in our world right now with, the shootings in schools and adults that are shooting and all the things, the dysfunction, the lack of care, the crisis of compassion, it's because on the inside, humans are not healthy. Humans are not mentally and spiritually healthy. Spiritual health, to me, I define as being able to love. You are spiritually healthy if you can, in the present moment, be loving. If you cannot, in the present moment, be loving yourself and loving life, you are spiritually ill.
Love that. Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Love that.
And it's an undiagnosed epidemic in humanity right now. Humanity is a species that is killing itself.
Yeah.
We are self-destructing right now. We are killing ourselves as a species. And either we're going to wake up and figure out how to heal ourselves from the inside out, or we're not.
Yeah, I love it. And you know what? And that obviously is such a huge, powerful concept. I am completely on board with that. I agree. I love what you said, to echo it, about what people can do about like recognizing when we address the symptom only. I'm so guilty of that. So guilty.
We are, because we're in this symptom world. We're so material.
Yeah.
So our mind is constantly in that cause and effect, limited perspective. And so we address just the very limited You.
expanding that scope. It's so powerful. I think it's just such a great reminder, because we can't predict whatever scenario it's going to be for people. It's just like that metaphor of the leaves, clipping the leaves instead of getting the whole tree like some, you know, healthier minerals or whatever it
Yeah,
actually
whatever it
needs
is,
to
whatever
heal.
nutrition, nutrients, the
Yeah,
system flow,
right.
the life, like, if a tree has got the leaves and the leaves are dying, it's because life isn't flowing to the leaves.
Yep.
The tree is cutting itself off from the flow of
Hmm.
life. And so we need to figure out where the block is. Is it in the
Where's
roots?
the
Is it in the
blockage?
trunk?
Where's the blockage?
Is it
Yeah. And that's
infected by a virus or a parasite? Like, could be anything. I'm not a
yeah.
tree expert, but I am a
And
kid
that's
expert.
true. What? You're kidding? Yeah. Kid
I
expert.
get kids. I get kids.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what's so beautiful about it and how it applies so directly to adults as well. It's like, that's such a great question. What's the blockage?
Yeah,
What's the
yeah.
blockage?
Because
It's
as
like that's
adults,
clearing away our own blockages is our
yeah,
own self-work, obviously, and helping our loved ones or standing for curiosity around blockage with our loved ones is such a great place to start, I think.
yeah. And to
And
me, the question,
I love that for my own growth and my own
yeah,
health and my own relationships.
yeah. And there's really simple questions that we can ask ourselves to get to the root of
Hmm.
the problem. Like
Yeah, go ahead.
one is to say, what part of my life do I not love? Why do I not love it?
Hmm.
Because there's some contradictory belief that you think is true, right? So there's something you believe is true. Then you say, okay, why do I think that's true? Why do I think that this thing that happened to me was not good? Or why do I think that this relationship was not good or not fair or not of service? Why do I think that? Who would I be without that thought? If I actually thought that this was of service in some way, right? Who would I be?
Hmm.
Right? And then the same applies like for your life, you do about yourself, because we are blocking ourselves off because there's parts of ourselves we don't love. So the same inquiry is, what part of myself do I not love? And
Hmm.
this has been my big last 6 months. Like, I'm in this, like, all right, because
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
brash.
yeah.
I can blurt shit out and like, be inappropriate. And like, there's like, I got a laundry list, a lifetime of things that I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Right.
Oh my God, right?
Right. And so the work that I'm in is like, all right, what parts of myself do I just not love with reckless abandon?
Right.
And get to the root, like what, because like the sine wave, like we all have equal positive qualities and then negative qualities. And
Yep.
so from a lifetime of rejecting the negative and being told it was bad and being told we needed to get better and being told that all that, right? So we don't love this part of ourselves. And it's like, all right, how do I get in there, in that spot that I don't love of myself,
Yep.
and love the fuck out of that part of myself? Like love, like I'm meant to be disruptive. The reason why I blurt shit out is because I'm meant to be disruptive. Like I'm meant to shake things up. I gotta love that. I gotta love all of me. I gotta love all of my weaknesses because it's all opportunity.
Yeah.
So anything that if I say to you, what part of you do you not love? Write that down. And
Love it.
that's where you start and say, why do I not love that? Why do I think that's bad? Can I find what's good? What are the good things that come out of these negative qualities that I have? What
Yep.
is the good side of all these things I don't love about myself? Like we gotta like figure out how to make peace
Yep.
with our authenticity so we can then be our authenticity.
What's I was listening to Lewis Howe's podcast this morning with
Mhm.
Gary
Mhm.
Vaynerchuk. For people who don't know him, he's like a full-on entrepreneur, very, very widely known in social media, entrepreneur, intense guy. And so for people who know him, they know that he doesn't give a fuck in the sense that he says what he believes, period, the end. So in this, and that's very inspiring and it's very polarizing. So he receives a lot of both admiration and a lot of conflict, a lot of rejection. So I bring that up because in the conversation with Lewis asked Gary, who talks a lot, is a public speaker, and has his own show weekly. I mean, it's like he's consistently talking about himself and what he believes and all this stuff. So it's rare that you get something new out of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mhm.
So Lewis asked him what his insecurity was. And I loved his answer because he said, most people will probably not believe this about me, but my insecurity is that I really, really, really want people to like me. And he's like, that might not compute given how I am in my social media presence, but I'm willing to be disliked in the now to be fucking loved in the long term. And I think that is what
That's
you're
power.
talking about with disruption, is that it comes from love, and a true positive intention to do best.
Yeah, that's exactly. I would rather be trusted. I would rather be trusted than liked.
Same.
And this is, every time I say that, I feel it in my bones. Like there's parts of me that are healing every time I say that. So I'm going to say it again. I would rather be trusted than liked. And most of my life, man, like when people didn't like me, oh God, it's so uncomfortable. It's like, can't just everyone like me? No, like, no, even if I weren't how I am and I am how I am, even if I were less polarizing and less intense and less disruptive, no one's ever going to like, everyone's never going to like you. Right. And especially the way that I am, I know that I need to be trusted. I need to be a force of truth. I need to tell you what you need to know, even if you don't want to hear it.
Yep.
You need to know that I am never bullshitting you. I am never bullshitting you. You may not like what I have to say, and I'm giving it to you straight.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I'm holding my hands like this right now. I didn't even know I was doing it, but there's a reason. It is so powerful when you really own your authenticity, your truth, what you know to be true. I don't need to be right. I might not be right for you. Like it may be a totally different, you may be over there and I'm over here, and your perspective on truth and reality is different than mine, because and I am going to be a reference point for truth. From where I am in time and space, this is what is true. You're over there in time and space, so you have a different reference point. But if I have more people like you, the real, not the hypothetical Melanie Curtis, the real Melanie Curtis, you are another reference point for me. I know you will always give it to me straight.
Yes.
And so that's why you are such a powerful force in my life, because I can trust you.
Absolutely.
I can trust
being that and appreciating that.
Yes.
Because there are plenty of times I am by my trusted people, I am told things that I don't want to hear.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful. I might not respond super awesomely in the moment when I'm hearing it, because it's hard to hear that stuff, but that is it's really powerful stuff.
It is so powerful.
Is love. Truly, that is love.
That is love.
I think that's how I see
it is.
that.
It's love manifesting. Yeah, it's love. It is absolute. It's love in action. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Oh, this is great shit, girl.
Fuck yeah, it is. You are the real Melanie Curtis. You are awesome.
The real Pamela Gold.
And I really feel like there was like a not real Pamela Gold until like really recently. And now I'm like, no. Like I don't know if you feel the shift, but like I feel really different these days. Like really different.
Good girl.
It's
doing
good.
The work. Doing the work.
I'm doing the work. I'm getting close to the oil. You know, it's like when you're drilling and you get really like, oh, I think I struck oil. Like once it's really like, you know, that eureka moment, you've seen those videos, cartoons, they're trying to get to the oil. They're trying to get to the oil and they're working so hard to get to the oil. And then they finally, you know, strike gold or strike oil. And it's like, you're like, it's so good. That's how I feel.
Cartoon oil is awesome.
That'll be the quote. Cartoon oil is awesome.
Cartoon oil is totally awesome. I love you.
I love you too.
peacepowerparenting.com.
MelanieCurtis.com.
Yeah. Reach out to us, you guys. I'm the person who works more with adults on the fear and the feelings. Pam is the one who works with adults, but who are working with the kids. So reach out to us anytime. Thank you so much for being here.
Lots of love.
This has gotta be good love. This has gotta be